Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Mimaki Live event. For anybody whose first time it is joining us, welcome. For any returning viewers, thanks for coming back. Thanks for giving us another chance. We have a great show for you today. I am Lewis Jones. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Mike Maxwell.
Hi. Thank you, everybody.
Hi. We are going to be focusing this YouTube Live on starting a successful sign business and keeping successful sign business open. We talked to two companies, one who had to alter their business for the pandemic to fit this new reality that we have, and another business who has expanded and grown their business during the pandemic. So we look forward to those interviews a little bit later. Make sure to like us, follow us, share this video. All this information will be available to you after the live is done. If you want more information from us, including the other lives that we've done, application images, application guides, information on our new software. We have a few two new printers out. If you want more information about those, the UJV 100 and the JV 100, please visit our website to get more information about that. As we said, this video is going to be about starting a print business and keeping a print business going. We are not experts in that. That's why we had the interviews that we are going to show you later. But we are experts in design files, getting design ready for a print business, getting design print files ready, working at a print shop, and knowledgeable experts in the Mimaki software, the Mimaki printers. So if you have any questions like that, how our machines relate to print industries and how they will relate to your business that you're starting, please put all that information in the chat. Any questions you have, we will be happy to solve those at the end. It will just be me and Maxwell for that questions and answers portion at the end, but trust us, we are here to help.
Yeah, so we may not be the quintessential experts in operating a print business, but we do know a lot of print businesses. We have a lot of customers, and we've had the opportunity to speak with many of them, and we've noticed some commonality, which we'll share with you today. We've noticed some things that they've done in their environments to keep themselves growing and healthy through even hardships. But before we do any of that, earlier this year, we did several segments about shifting your business. If you're a printer that already exists or you're looking to get into printing, shifting your business to focus in on the demands of today. And it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly today. It could be any pocket of time where there's anything going on, and being able to shift your business to meet the demands of customers and meet the demands of what's out there so that you can continue to sustain and grow. And our team in the Northeast did just that. So they recently connected with a local restaurant, and they worked with them to utilize the Mimaki equipment to rebrand the restaurant and adhere to some of the new policies that are in the area that they serve. And that little shift in business was a minimal amount of effort on the printer side, but it was a maximum return not only for the business that received the signage, but also for any print shops that are looking to help their local communities and any local print shops that are looking to expand and meet the economic hardship. So before we get into any more dialogue about operating a successful print business, we'd like to show you how that went and give you kind of an insight as to what our team in the Northeast has been up to.
Hello, my name is Mike Trotter. I'm the Northeast Regional Manager for Mimaki USA. I'm speaking to you today from our state-of-the-art technology center located here at 198 Green Pond Road in Rockaway, New Jersey.
And I'm Dave Lynn, Channel Sales Representative for the New York, New Jersey region.
As many of you already know, this area of the country was hard hit by the coronavirus. Many businesses have suffered tremendously due to government lockdowns and regulations that sadly are still in place from the early spring of 2020. The restaurant industry in particular is no stranger to the damage caused by the pandemic. Demand for sign and graphics in a restaurant is needed now more than ever to help convey a message that COVID-19 concerns have been addressed and that the establishment is safe for not only their employees that work there, but also their customers. Here at Mimaki, we thought it might be a great idea to meet with a local restaurant owner to see if we could put Mimaki technology to work for them to help address any COVID-19 signage needs during these challenging and difficult times.
We plan on visiting a restaurant owner. Matar is the proud owner of Matar's Bistro, located in beautiful Alamucci, New Jersey.
You ready to do this, Dave?
Let's do it.
So Matar, thank you very much for having us and allowing us to work with you on some new signage for your restaurant.
My family, I have two brothers-in-law in the business, we're partners. We purchased this restaurant back in 1984. It used to be a very small restaurant, about 15 tables. Over the years we expanded and we almost tripled our size. And now we're into our 36th year anniversary this year. And here we are, COVID.
So COVID.
COVID.
It's a new set of issues to meander around with being in the restaurant industry.
When COVID hit us first, we went to only takeout. And we have to use, our model of business changed from sit-down dinner to takeout. And when we reopened back in June, it was a challenge because we have to wear the mask in the kitchen, the mask and the gloves in the dining room at least 6-7 hours a day. It was very difficult times, but we adjusted to it.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, what we use, very handmade, what called handmade signage wasn't effective.
So with COVID, you also had a branding change that happened to coincide with the COVID pandemic.
Yes. No, the branding happened because it's have a new image of the restaurant for ourselves, and the branding was a good way to remind people that we're still here, we still exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good idea to change the brand, the same name, but
Mm-hmm.
different colors, different approach. And it should help the business, in my opinion,
Dave, that was a great visit, and based on what I saw, the timing is perfect to help Matar. The fact that he wants to change the overall look of his brand, his logo, he gives us a lot to work with the project. I'm really excited to see what our technology at Mimaki can do for him.
Me too, Mike. I think it's really important that we make sure that we incorporate his new logo into the signage we produce here, and also throughout the entire restaurant to help reinforce Matar's brand to his customers.
Couldn't agree more, Dave. Okay, it's time for us to get going on this project. We now invite you all back inside our technology center to see how Mimaki technology can not only help Matar's Bistro, but also help your business. Thank you.
you came in with the new sign to help a lot of the customer to understand, you know, to go to, let's say, to the bathroom. It's easy to find the bathroom, or
Easier to read.
easy to read, easy to read with the mask. You know, it was more friendly than the standard one, and people remarked it, but they said they enjoyed it. They liked it more than the other sign. And for me, that's was. But I was surprised, basically, to see that difference, because people they understand the colors. You know, it's different, easy to read. It was helpful. It was the response was. I was really surprised the response from the guest, but the signage, you know, it's simple, simple stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And they say we can see it now, we can read it. You know, before it was like very small letters and the arrow was very small and it's more bulk, and it's nice.
Don't forget to check out our resource page at mimakiusa.com. Here you can find webinars, application guides, tips, tricks, techniques, and more with the applications team, and many more informational videos to help you get the most out of your Mimaki product. Want to see upcoming Mimaki events and webinars? Well, mimakiusa.com has you covered. Make your way over to the events page available on the About tab. Mimaki USA also offers a support page that includes driver and software updates, a color profile center, frequently asked questions, and more.
Great, let's get it on the market this week.
Order up, guys. Let's get this out the door.
Right, and we're back. Love that interview. I'd love to see the different ways Mimaki products can help boost a business, how signage plays a part in marketing throughout different industries. Love it.
Yeah, the team up there did a great job.
Right. I actually had opportunity to meet with a local sign company that we've been working with for a long time. They told me some of the tips and tricks they've found building their business through the pandemic, keeping things new and fresh. In a few minutes, we'll go to that interview. But before that, let's talk back and forth a little bit about some of the stuff that we learned from them. I know that you have a long history with them. Like I said, we've been working with them for a long time, but I think you sold them their first Mimaki printer.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting them several years ago when I was still working up through the ranks, and had the opportunity to meet them. They were a small outfit. At the time, it was just a few of them working there. It was a very, very small group of people, very small space, probably like 900 square feet or something like that. And they were in need of a new printer, and they gave us the opportunity to put a JB33 in there. And ever since then, they have just they continued to expand and grow. And they ran that printer for years. They added another one. They've added several more Mimakis, and over the years, they've just continued to expand and grow. And it's been amazing to see that growth, and not just because it was a Mimaki product, but because they've continued to adapt and really embrace what the market's expecting. And they've made some growth through really a lot of really tough times. Economic hardships with the banking crisis and the housing market. What's going on today? It's been great to see it. So I was glad that you got a chance to connect with them.
Yeah, and they've still been able to, throughout all of those hardships, be able to churn out reliable product, and they've really made a name for themselves in that area. And they've really cornered the market in communicating with their audience and getting that information from their audience of what they need and getting it out very fast. I love to see their workflow and the turnaround time that they have going down there.
Yeah, I mean, workflow has been a huge part of their success, and it's been interesting to see because when we first communicated with each other and I first met them, Amazon was still new, right, in a large way. It had been around for a while, since the 90s, but it really hadn't been embraced to the level it is now. And It's interesting because there was a survey that was done by SGIA that 62% of the people that responded that were in this industry, in the print industry, said that their customers expect a 3-day or shorter turnaround time for jobs, which is really tough to do in a print environment. And it's also interesting because another study that we came across from Pew Research said that 96% of all people in North America have a connected smart device, whether it's a tablet or a phone, and that's how they communicate and that's how they do their shopping and everything else. So there's a level of expectations that have grown through those adoptions of those platforms, and it's created a challenge for the print shops out there to meet those demands. But companies like this have been able to embrace that and make it part of their core.
Yeah, I feel like the second that that Amazon instant shipping or that next day shipping became an option, it kind of warped the minds of a lot of customers who are just buying anything online and thinking, oh, this should be next day. Amazon has the ability to have something next day, but the print industry, like I said, is different. We get more information. We need more information from you. We need to, instead of being able to pick a finished product out from a line of shelf, you need to actually create something. There's a process to this. We need to apply things. We need to get finished logos. We need to make sure that your finished product is made by us and looks ready to show out into the public. Yeah,
and the expectations of the consumer are different in the print industry, right? So in our experience and what we've seen through the successful shops are the ones that have the tighter workflow, but also meet the customer's demands. And every customer has a different way of perceiving things. So every customer has a different font that they like, for example, or different way of perceiving color, or different expectations of how that image is going to be represented. And you have to be able to take all that information and collect it in a very short amount of time and deliver something that the customer is going to accept and want, and still meet exactly what you mentioned, which is that one-click shopping experience that everyone's come to kind of expect. And it's tough to do. So the workflow is kind of the critical piece there. And that's where a lot of the shops that we've interacted with, including this one here, have really become more successful over the years because they've embraced certain pieces of the workflow, and it's really important.
Yeah, they expanded from just getting in shop orders, just people coming in off the streets to ask for signage, to getting web orders. I think they had it before the pandemic, but they really expanded their ability for people to singularly order something online without sending in a job, without having to consult with one of the employees, which really does save time with people. It really does get jobs in faster, which is important, but it also means that at a certain point, they have to go back and have that conversation of, okay, maybe this logo doesn't work the way that you want it to. Maybe this image needs to change. It's just really just a give and take between the customers, and it's adding to the workflow, but they've really figured out a sweet spot of how they manage their jobs. That is really, it's really admirable. They've changed their experience to fit the times, which is always the most important step in keeping a business going, adapting. We really talked about adapting to different things in their environment. I think they've expanded their sign business into a new avenue that is playing off old trends, market trends that they've seen to keep things going. And that new business is all online.
Yeah, and there's staple items that they continue to produce, which most print shops do, right? They have that repeat work that comes through. But to your point, they've embraced some of that stuff and expanded it in other areas, which are unique, but offer customers something new. And it's kind of like in the line of what we do, right? Something new and something different. They're always trying to expand. And those are the things that we've seen with all the print shops, if you're able to embrace that. But that connectivity with the customer and that constant communication, even if you're in an online e-commerce setup, still having a way to connect to your customers either through a chat window or through a phone call or something, that has remained a very important part of the print business.
Yeah, you think that if a business gets a reliable product out to a community, that tends to be something they rely on, but it can be a crutch. Most things that you are relying in the sign business, like realty signs or graduation signs, that birthday signage, that is something that will always be needed, but it is seasonal. All those things are seasonal, so you can't rely on that for your entire business, or else there will be gaps in time where you are not making money. So you really have to keep on growing when you are not doing those stable jobs. There's also marketing trends that you need to be constantly looking up. Getting that information out to the audience is also key. Like you said, making sure people feel comfortable coming in and getting that information. I think they've really done well with, a lot of shops have been doing well with bringing people in, making them feel safe with social distancing, wearing masks. But it's still hard to like get that information out there through social media. I feel like a lot of people focus on the one social media that they know. If you're on Facebook, you think that everyone is just on Facebook. No, you need to branch out into Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. There's always different promotions you can be making. If you're in like a small town, I've seen people advertising with the Uber drivers in your town, advertising in cars, like the old sign on the side of
taxi cabs,
on the side of the taxi, upgrading that signage inside of Uber drivers' cars. Yeah, there's always ways that you can constantly be growing and constantly being adapting your business to fit the world that you're in.
Yeah, and the two key words there are adaptability and growth. And those are the things that we've seen the shops that are the most successful embrace. Adaptability for the times when your repeat business is cyclical and it's going to be off and you have to find that other thing.
Right.
But getting out of your comfort zone and knowing that at some point you're going to have to try something you haven't tried before, and you're going to have to branch into something that's unknown to you. And you may not do it well the first time, and it may not work out real well for you, but you at least have that learning experience, and then you move on to the next thing. And there's always a critical mass with the small shops that we've seen that have started off with like a JV33 or like our JV100 we just launched. We expect that there's a lot of adoption on the startup side. It's interesting because when those shops get to a certain point, it's almost, some of them are afraid to take the workflow pieces and split them into other human resources. It's almost as if they try to do the one, size fits all model. I'm going to be the designer and the operator and the person answering the phone. And there's a certain point where you have to get out of that comfort zone and feel confident in what you've got to bring in another employee and break that workflow up. And if you can start breaking your workflow up, then you find that every piece of that workflow is doing their part efficiently. And that's a key piece.
Yeah, like the business that we had the interview with in a few minutes, A-Bear Sign, they started out as with one person being like the signage shop person, where it began with a person who was in the industry physically making signs, physically painting signs. But as technology grew, they did not stay in that field. They brought other people on, and most importantly, the people that started off doing physical signs did not stay doing that. They brought new people in who knew the new technology, who were able to adapt to the new technology, and they learned how to incorporate their skills into that technology. That's always a way of not phasing things out, but moving everything forward is key to keeping a business going and making people feel not at home, but feeling that their job is reliable, making feel that you're this industry and that their company is reliable, by making sure that everyone has a voice and everyone is moving at the same pace.
Yeah, and that pacing is important as well. So using software that's available, or software that either it's open source or you have to purchase, embracing the capabilities of software so that you're not hand walking tickets to different stations within your business. Utilizing the computer and the network and the connectivity that we all have. I mentioned that research study. file drop software or some sort of file management where you can push that job when you're done with your particular piece of it over to the next station. And that person knows that that piece is done from the previous station and it's ready for their part. And then they can engage, and then it just kind of moves through fluidly through all the processes in your shop. And if you can start to break that out, you'll start to find that you can branch out and add your human resources and add to your bottom line at the same time, because your customers have that confidence that whatever they bring you, you're going to be able to get through efficiently, and you can communicate at every step of that process where it is, what to expect. This is where we are, and this is when you can receive it, or this is where we are, and we have some additional questions. But it's really fluid and really, really exciting for shops. So the thing that I think that they did right in this particular case study is they looked at the growth, and they utilize actually several different technologies. So they have solvent technology, UV curable technology, they have cutting technology.
Yes, they have different sections of their print shop that are designed just for applications. They have different laminators to making sure that they are the finished product is sustainable and looks good. Yeah, everyone knows their different functions in that job, which is really nice. It really saves up time that everyone knows like the different things that they're able to do. They know the different technologies that they have and what person is perfect to get out what product.
And they also know the capabilities and in some cases the limitations of each piece of technology, and when to bring a job here and when to bring a job over here, for example. And the thing that I've found the most intriguing about shops like this one and other ones that we've interacted with is the ones that have the highest level of success with the equipment specifically always give themselves a kind of, it's an unwritten list, but it's a list that I've noticed in my experience, and that is the machine sustainable? Is it going to be able to run for the length of time that I need it to run? And not just here and now today, but is it going to be sustainable for years to come? Is this a piece of equipment that I'm going to have to replace every 2 or 3 years? Or is this a piece of equipment that I can rely on for years? And to your point with them, they've got pieces of equipment in there that you probably saw that are very old, that they've been running for a while, but it's sustainable. And then the efficiency, is the machine efficient? Is it going to give me the delivery that I'm looking for in the time that I expect at the quality that my customers are going to expect? And is that sustainable and reliable? And if it's reliable, you know that you've taken a large portion of what we've seen the smaller print shops experience. And that's that fear that I've got this job, I've got a customer that's expecting a delivery time, they're expecting a certain amount of quality. I need to go make sure my machine's working. I need to go make sure that my machine's ready to print. Is it going to do this for me? And with a lot of the technology that we've built, we've taken some of that guesswork out, like the core technologies that we've talked about and things like that. But if you know that the machine is reliable, then you don't have to worry about that in your workflow. You just know to go over to it, and you're going to be able to rely on it to do what it needs to do. And it becomes a critical part of your workflow as well.
Yeah, like that. I told you my experience is from working in a print shop, but the machine was a separate employee. That was another employee. That if my job was getting design files ready, but if the printer wasn't working, that would hinder my ability to get last minute jobs out fast. That would bog down the workflow process that we had. So keeping that machine healthy, making sure that my technology was working for me and not working against me was very important to getting out a reliable product, but also working with the customers and making sure that I was getting the correct information from them, managing their expectations to make sure that they weren't getting high hopes about something being sent to me at 8 in the morning and getting it at 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's all about how you work with the different customers and receive their information and manage their expectations, and making sure that you are not hurting yourself by sacrificing the quality of your product for speed. That is always a tight line to walk when you're running a print shop. We do want to get into this interview that we had with A Better Sign. Before we do that, make sure to keep commenting in the chat. Keep putting any questions that you have for me and Maxwell at the very end to answer about our machines and how they relate to a print industry business or signage business, and any information that you have on design files or like working at a print shop. Please give us any questions that you have. We have people monitoring the chat for more for your questions at the end. Please subscribe to our channel, like all our videos, and
follow us.
More information about us. Please feel free to go to our website, get valuable information about our software, our printers, and any other live events or webinars that we'll be having. I think we're going to
let's see what
the interview now.
Let's see what you had to do.
All right.
Okay, I am at A Better Sign. I'm with Cecil Sellers. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the print industry.
All right, I got into the print industry because I was in the sign industry, which I still am, and started out in the sign industry right out of high school because I did artwork in high school, which there's some pictures of me up here doing that, and got hired by a sign company, a guy named Joe Andrews in Maryland, and he taught me the sign business because he needed some art printed on a sign, and then I learned from there.
So what difficulties or what things did you run into when you were starting your own business?
My own business, besides being scared to death, I've worked for myself a couple of times. We've had this business 25 years now almost. And, but basically learning the sign business and also learning business is important.
Okay. I know you had a number of mentors that helped you out when you were starting in the sign industry.
Right.
You branched out, started teaching a lot of other people that now that you're in the print industry or that you have your own business. I know that you started a family company. So
Right.
What is it like teaching all that to family and working with family?
Oh, it's great. Working with family is one of the best things in the world. You know, we all get along great. We're best friends. So that's a real dynamic that you don't get if you're just working anywhere. But yeah, to be able to show them what I've done. I love technology, so moving into new technology is great. When I hand lettered, which is how I started, well, I started painting, then I went into hand lettering. And the first time that I saw a computerized cutter, I said, that's going to save me a lot of time. Then when I saw the first inkjet type printer, I said, that's going to save me a whole lot of time. And went, all the way down the line like that. So teaching those things to my children or our work experience is just a great thing.
So tell me about that transition of working in making signs physically and then moving into printing signs.
When that transition happened for me, I was hired at Kaiser Permanente in California because they did all the in-house architectural signs and still do, back in that day in 1980. And we were doing things with camera, and I was hired to hand letter a sign that they needed. It was the first thing I did, and immediately we went into just producing things, and a computerized cutter was introduced. And immediately, I didn't have to hand letter 15 parking lot signs. I just had to punch it in, and it cut it out and put it together.
Right.
Then we moved into plotter style, where you could free do anything you wanted to do based on what you did on the computer. So then, when ribbon printers came out, I moved into that, which was another whole ballgame by itself. But when inkjet printing came aboard, all of a sudden the game changed entirely. You could do something like this and print it on a 5x10 on a Mimaki printer in one piece, which was fantastic.
Right.
Changed the whole dynamic of everything from taking all day to letter 5 signs to doing hundreds of signs in one day.
Right. Oh, I know a lot of people watching or just starting out their businesses, dealing with COVID. I know that's a big thing on everybody's mind, but you guys have worked through difficult times before. This isn't your first rodeo, right?
Right, exactly.
Right. What kind of things have you seen in other difficult times, not just COVID?
Well, I guess when I was in California, we had earthquakes,
right,
which interrupted business. But I worked for a corporation then, Kaiser, and so you just work through it there. But more recently, when 9/11 came about, business stopped. I mean, it came to a dead stop. So you say, well, what am I going to do? Well, all of a sudden, everybody needed an American flag. Everybody in the United States suddenly needed an American flag. And so we started printing flag magnets. We printed, I don't know how many of those, and we were small then. We were in 900 square feet and had 2 or 3 employees. And that's what we did for months.
Yeah,
you got to know how to transition. I think is when anything happens, what can I do to transition my work? We had later on when the housing crisis happened and the crash in 2008, I guess it was. We had a lot of customers who a lot of them who just went out of business. The whatever construction contractors, home builders, that kind of thing. So they were our customers. So now what do? Well, those customers had to start new businesses. They had to do something totally new. They need some kind of identification and branding in order to do the new business. So we just went with the flow and straight along.
I am here with Luke and John. Please tell me how you guys decided to work with Mimaki printers.
Well, our first big printer purchase was the JV33. We moved from an older, slower printer to that. It's been great because it was a lot faster. Mimaki makes fantastic printers, and it evolved from there. We moved on to the flatbeds with the UV printing, and then into UV roll-to-rolls and cutter machines. And we just like the quality, and of course the price is great too.
Yeah, so when we started, we did a lot of screen printing, especially if you're doing multiple colors. It's a very long process. Anyone that's done it knows. So if you even a 2-color sign, actually it doubles the amount of time it takes, and you have to screen print one sign, wait for it to dry, flip it over, screen print the back. And so now with the new Mimaki printers that we've got now, you can do multicolor in very high definition, and it's done within a couple minutes, and it's completely dried immediately because of the UV lamps inside the printer heads.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the shop that you guys have, the space, and what's your process when making jobs?
We get jobs 2 different ways, essentially. Walk-in customers and online customers. You can go onto our website and order almost any of our products and have it either shipped to your home or you can pick it up in store. You can also just walk in the front door and order something, give us the specifics, and we work out everything for you. Once the job comes in from one of those sources, it moves through the shop in production through a computer program, and mostly digital, so that we can get it through quick and get it out the door for shipping or pickup.
All right, could you guys talk about some of the design trends you've seen in your industry over the years? What are some needs that people have that are never going to go away?
Yeah, so 2 of the constants that have been here since day one of starting the business is realty signs have always been around. We've done that since day one until today. So that's always a constant one that people always want. A second one is definitely graduation. So people are graduating from all kinds of schools and such every year. So we're printing those every year. But a new product that we've actually created is called partywords.com. So it works with realtors and with, say, graduation and a number of things, but we created large printed letters that are cut out with a stand that go in your yard. So you can spell out something like congratulations and insert a name, or maybe yard sale, or another cool one is it can say open house across the entire yard, which brings more traffic to your open house.
All right, for the people just starting out new businesses, what are some time-saving tips that you guys have
found?
A huge one, it's kind of a no-brainer, but I guess you'd be surprised, is definitely communication. So if you have someone that's printing a lot of signs all day, they need to be in constant communication with the person who's doing the artwork. So telling them how you want it set up, a certain way to fit on the sides of the boards, and being in constant communication with them all day will make sure that everything is squeezed into those boards that you're printing on, so you're saving room. Because if someone's saying you artwork for one sign and you have, say, 72 inches of blank space above it, that's going to waste a lot of time. So explaining how it needs to all be set up and fit in these sizes is a huge one, especially when you're running multiple printers. So if you're getting all the artwork and it's ready to go, you, like us, we can run multiple printers at once with just one person doing that.
Right. All right, we like to focus on the kind of specialty materials that Mimaki can print on. What specialty graphics do you guys work on in the sign industry?
Well, of course, print always starts with a white surface, usually, but Mimaki has come out with some things that help you in that avenue. You can print on clear using white inks, and it will stay only in the areas where your print is designed to go, so that everything outside of it is clear and your print shows up nice and bright against any surface.
So tell me some of the cool jobs you guys have been working on. I see the van that you guys have brought in here. I love that you guys can bring in actual vehicles to actually apply it indoors. What's some other cool projects you guys have worked on recently?
Yeah, so one of the projects that I've personally made is I've taken giant pieces of plywood that I can lay on the JFX and actually print out an outline of a arcade cabinet that I actually designed myself. And so that way, with that outline, I could cut it out to shape, and then I would lay down plexiglass to create a top for the arcade machine and for a faceplate, which is actually backlit, and you can see right through the plex. And then I printed on vinyl all the artwork for it and just stuck it directly to the plywood. It actually looks really professional because it has like a matte look to it. It's very sleek looking. Another big one is in the art world, everyone wants their art screen printed because it has that classic look that everyone loves. So what the JFX is really good at is actually kind of mimicking the screen print look. So I have a lot of friends and people that ask me for prints for them on nice paper, and I can actually print on the JFX and I can tell them that it's even screen printed and they don't know any different.
Okay. All right, so tell me, what is a normal turnaround time when you're working on a job?
So normal can change because you may not be ready with your artwork. If you are a designer and you have artwork ready to print, is what we would call it, 2 to 4 business days is pretty typical. If there's artwork involved, it may take a little more time for us to set it up, proof it to you, make sure everything's good, and then the print time starts with a 2 to 4. So it can vary.
Yeah, I'm familiar with like getting artwork from people and then having to adapt that to be print ready, getting like a low resolution logo and having
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Some people will say, I'm ready to go, and then you get their artwork and it delays it. It can be a week sometimes where they're trying to find something, and it just changes things, but you have to adapt to the scenario.
Tell me what's next for your company.
Well, 2020 has brought some challenges for sure, and we've adapted a lot to bring more business online than walk-ins. It just seems to be the smarter way to go. So a lot of our marketing dollars for the foreseeable future will be pointed towards getting the website more cohesive and getting new products onto the website.
Future, thank you for joining us for this interview. We love working with different companies. You guys specifically, we worked with you guys for many years. Hope to continue that process in the future.
That was great. Amazing. Everything that we, a little audio mishap there for a second. Everything we talked about prior to the video, they touched on all those points and kind of drove home what we've been seeing with all of our successful customers. So great job, Lewis. Thanks for connecting with those guys. It's always great to see them and how well they're doing. So awesome. So we're going to do a Q&A in just a few moments. We're going to bring Lisa Humrick on, our PR and social manager. So Lisa, if you're with us, we'd love to hear your voice.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Lisa. So you've been monitoring the chat window, and hopefully we've gotten some good questions from the audience. Before we jump into that, Lewis, on the topic that we had before, the boys over at A Better Sign really seemed to have all that workflow locked down, and it looked like, you know, every piece in there. So what did you think about the final outcome of what you saw in that type of environment?
Well, it's good to see that everyone knew what their jobs were. Everyone, even while we were having the interview, it was clear, like, for like 2 seconds, people would step away, have a consultation about a job that was going on. Someone would walk into the building, they'd help them out, and then get right back to it. It was a seamless workflow that was easy to step in and out of. There was no sense of anyone seeming like things were hectic or like someone was overworked. It just seemed smooth.
And they seemed like they were having a pretty good time there too. So
yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks again for that. So Lisa, we're going to open up the floor for chat, and we're going to stick around for just a little bit because this is a little bit different than we've done previously. So if there's any questions in the chat room, we'd love to field them.
Yeah, I'd actually like to share that we have approached Mimaki Live a little differently this time. Not only is Mimaki Live on YouTube, but we also have it on Facebook.
Excellent.
So we do have questions from both sides, and thank you, Christina. I have my able-bodied assistant today. She's handling all the Facebook questions and texting them to me. So we have a few.
All right.
So let's get started.
I am actually having a problem hearing Lisa.
I can hear you.
Okay, hold on.
Well,
that's all right,
I'm going to
Lisa,
go ahead and
ask
out. Questions. Mike, maybe you can just re-say them out loud for Lewis to hear.
Okay.
So the first question is, when will Fine Cut 10 be released?
I don't have a release date for Fine Cut 10, but check with our website. That's usually the best source for information, mimakiusa.com. We do update that as soon as those are available. And there's also a tool within Fine Cut for updates that will let you know if a new version is available. There's an information button within the software itself. So if you're currently running a version of Fine Cut, you can click the button and it will let you know if there's any updates for your current version available, and will also let you know if there's any update patches or new versions available. And then you can usually utilize that to connect with the web page that will allow you to download the installer and keep moving. And that's usually the most seamless way to do it, because it will also let you know which version of Adobe or Corel it's compatible with, and whether or not we recommend waiting because maybe Adobe did an update and we have to get the APIs and everything fixed to make sure that everything's working functionally. But that's probably the best way to do it. So check with our website, and then of course, if you see anything on social media or any of our other channels pop up about Fine Cut 10, then you'll know it's available.
Right now, I have the updated Adobe Suite for 2021. Right now, all of my Fine Cut and the Ratcheling tools for Illustrator, all of that's working fine for me. I did have to update, but yeah, all of that's working for me right now.
Well, that's good news. I don't know if Lewis can hear me yet, but just in case, Mike, would you ask Lewis about his experience with creating signage? Does he have a favorite product?
So the question from the audience, Lewis, is do you have experience creating signage, and what is your favorite product that you've created?
Right now, my favorite part of signage is wrapping. I'm really into taking classes and trying to learn more about car wrapping, and that side of the industry is fun because you can expand that into other fields, like the way that during the interview we talked about John Sellers talked about creating the arcade machine. That was pieces of that could have been made with wrapping technology, with printing on, of course, like any solvent printer, and then laminating. But the application of it is what I'm really interested in right now. Also, the stuff the 3D department is doing, I am trying to adapt some art pieces into 3D pieces to print on our 3D line. Look at our episode that we had on our 3D machines to learn more about those. But it's really easy with the software that's out there right now with our 3D technology, to take 2D works and translate them into 3D textured works. So with our new 3D machine that just came out, the
3D GD, yeah.
Not just the 3D GD, the smaller 3D.
The new 3D UJ, yeah.
Yeah, with the 3D UJ, that would really make it easy to create smaller pieces. And I'm trying to get in before we get that machine and really want to tinker with it. I'm really want to try and set up some files to play with that.
Yeah, and if I can jump on that a little bit, Lewis has in previous episodes of this series has done wrapping of skateboards, and has worked with display graphics for, like you mentioned, the 3D printed jobs that you do. So you've actually done several wrap application examples over the past, and you also have the application series. The applications team's been doing a how-to series, which also embraces a lot of that. So if you haven't checked that out, you should.
Yeah, and the tips and tricks series. I think my next one, I am working on 4-layer printing, which is one of the funner things that I get to focus on the sign industry part, the sign segment. That is the transitional image of day and night. I think we put out videos about that, but they haven't made like a detailed how-to about that. I'm really interested in that. That's the flashier way to make signage something that's
fun
transitional. Signage. I really want to try and blow that up to work on like a bigger piece of that. The only reason we haven't is because we don't have like a big enough light to transition that here. I think the best way to show that off would be
a big cabinet.
Yeah, the main purpose of that is that transitional image of night and day is having the backlit backlit signage. So like a storefront or a building, with a dedicated light source behind that image. We don't have a big enough light here, so
maybe our friends in the Northeast can find one.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be really interesting to get into after we finish this tips and tricks series, of course. Yeah.
I'm surprised that Lewis did not mention his home improvement that he did.
Oh, Lisa's asking about your home improvement project that you're working on.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think I posted a how-to video about this, and I took the floor graphics and wall graphics from some of the places here and made a running design where I created a graphic that was printed on the wall, and it looked like the design was bleeding into the floor. That was a really fun piece. I really like doing that. I think the only thing that I would change about that would be incorporating that design with the textile department. I think we've had like couches and different upholstery products with printed designs from Mimaki on it. I would like to get with the textile department and have that same design on a couch running through. But that was I think the biggest piece in a while that I had to apply physically.
And I think you touch on something. Signage doesn't have to just be wrapping and vinyl. It could also be fabric And I think our friends at ISA just sent out an announcement that they'll be doing a soft signage series, which is right in that vein. So definitely check that out as well.
All right, are y'all ready for the next question?
I think so.
UV, Mike.
UV, okay.
Can you laminate immediately after you print?
Absolutely. UV lamination immediacy is always inherent there, whether you're doing it on a flatbed or you're doing it on a roll-to-roll. The big difference between those two technologies in terms of the UV is whether or not the ink is flexible. Typically on the roll-to-roll products like our UJV 100, which we just announced, or our UCJV 300, which we've had for several years, the flexibility of the ink gives you the ability to go around complex curves, do your vehicle graphics, the wraps like Lewis was mentioning, but you can always laminate immediately. And the benefit of that also plays into what Lewis mentioned about like the 4-layer printing and the 3-layer and the 2-layer and the 5-layer and all the different layers that you can do. You can also laminate immediately with those prints as well, which is great. So no matter where you jump into the UV space with our portfolio, you can go straight to the laminator and you can go straight to your customer. So it's immediate handoff, ready to go.
Perfect. And when it comes to outdoor signage, do you have a preference as far as UV or solvent ink?
Outdoor signage preference between UV and solvent. So those lines are becoming more and more blurred. There's a definite time where solvent is going to be the most successful ink technology to work with in a certain environment. So if all of your signage is outdoor and you do a lot of vehicle graphics, or maybe you're just a 100% wrap shop, solvent's that tried and true, and it's the most mature, easiest to get into technology. But if you're looking to diversify and you're looking to get into other areas of printing, UV curable opens up a whole new range of materials that you can print to, and it gives you a lot of the outdoor durability that you expect from solvent. Solvent's going to last longer outdoor because of the way that the chemical makeup works and how it becomes part of the material. UV sits on the surface. But once you laminate either of those, the outdoor durability is improved. And it gives you the ability to have that confidence that if you're using UV curable in an outdoor environment, you can do not only the outdoor signage, but you can do some of the other elements that you may not have been able to do with solvent, just because the solvent's not compatible with the material. So great question. At this point, from the Mimaki portfolio side, I don't think you're going to go wrong with either of those. What do you think about that, UV versus solvent?
For outdoor signage, I think, like you said, either is fine. I've tested both in different environments. I've printed signage for outdoor with UV inks and our solvent inks. But I do think ultimately it will come down to the lamination that you're using. I've applied a print to an object that is going to be sitting outside, and an object is going to be sitting inside. And if that piece is curling, if that piece is not stretching the way it should, the inks are stretching. That's not the issue. It's the laminate that is holding everything together. That is ultimately the problem. So that plays a bigger factor than a lot of people realize. It works with either inks. The process should be the same. Use our heat assist laminator that we provide, but really test out the different laminates that are out there and the different combinations between the original vinyl material and the final laminate that you will be using. Some play together perfectly. Some do not. It's always testing to see what works for you.
Yeah, typically you don't want to do like a cast vinyl and a calendared laminate because they expand and contract at different ratios. And you're right, they do create a bottleneck for the final graphic to work properly in an outdoor environment.
Yeah.
But from our experience, the UV has opened up such a broad range, and there are some nuanced differences of printing with UV. And you're spot on. You do need to know which laminates and which films work the best with those combination. But once you've got those two pieces together.
Yeah, when I'm doing outdoor signage, I'm not questioning, and I'm choosing, since we have the entire suite of printers to use here, I'm not choosing which inks to use based off where that is going. I'm I'm choosing my machine based off what specific colors I'm trying to get, what kind of effect I'm trying to get on it, what the finished piece is going to look like, not where the final piece is going, because I know what materials to use that will be protected wherever. And I'll get that same effect. I'll get that same protection from the laminates and from the vinyl and from either of those inks. So it's really more about what colors you want, what finished product and texture you want. Because of course there are textured laminates, and you can get like different textures effects with the clear inks and different things. So it's really about what you want to see at the end.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is the advantages of UV inks are that you can laminate immediately.
Correct.
And it has comparable durability to solvent.
It does have comparable durability, especially if it's laminated. Lamination doesn't add longevity to the coloration. It adds longevity to the wearability of the print outdoors, because it helps with weathering. Or for an example, if you're wrapping a vehicle, you're going to wash that car at some point. If you're rubbing and creating friction against the material all the time, you're wearing that material down, and eventually you're going to wear down the coloring that's embedded in it or sitting on the surface. We have found in some instances that the UV curable inks actually last longer in an outdoor environment when it comes to wearability without lamination, just because solvent typically goes on a very thin film, like a 2 mil cast film, for example, for vehicle graphics. But the UV ink itself is sitting on the surface, so you have to wear through the ink layer before you even get to the material. So in some cases, UV curable can actually outlast solvent, but it comes down to what Lewis was saying. You know, what is the expectation for your look, your feel, and the application? You don't necessarily need to worry about indoor, outdoor with those two ink technologies.
Great. So Mike, we've launched a couple of new products recently. How do they fit into this conversation?
Yeah, so she's asking about the JV and the UJV 100. Really excited that we had the opportunity to launch those a couple of weeks ago. We did that actually here for our audience on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you for joining us for that. Those products, we feel, are going to be the best starting point for any startup business or any small business that's looking to expand, especially today with the current economic climate, right? So we feel that is going to be the best product or best set of products that any customer could choose when they're looking to get into the print business. So to the solvent and UV, conversation we just had, you have a choice with both products. It's going to come down to what your expectations and what your needs are. But if you go with either one of them, the cost point for getting into them, we've removed that barrier of entry. It's very inexpensive to get into those products. The efficiencies of all the core technologies that are on those products, we've got a wide variety of different core technologies in there. I encourage you to go watch the videos, watch the things that our applications team's been doing with it. But we feel that those products are going to help a lot of people that have maybe lost their job, start a new business, or small businesses that were just getting started when everything kind of ground to a halt. It gives them an opportunity to expand or differentiate themselves and offer something different without breaking the bank. And it's going to give them all of that stuff we just talked about with the UV and the solvent technology. You've got two choices there.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of applications or information that we've put out for those machines. But if you are looking at the UJV 100, I would say look at applications that we have made with the UCJV, those very similar technologies. If you're looking at the JV 100, look at the JV 300 applications that we've done, any like solvent applications that we've done. That, like you said, the technology is still there, it's still similar. I think I was talking to some of the techs about the UJV 100, and they were blown away at the thickness that you could get on the clear inks on the UJV 100 as opposed to the UCJV. So I'm really interested to play around with that. But a lot of the stuff that we've already done can be done on these machines. So look at our past videos, look at any technology or like instructional guides that we put out for UV printing and solvent printing. Those can be worked into these machines very easily.
And the interesting thing there is there's kind of two different so under the hood, the machines work very similarly, right? They have the same core technologies, they have the same print quality capabilities, drop size, all that's the same. But the real differentiator there is, and this is where a lot of shops have a better choice, because typically they would choose a piece of equipment based on the features and the benefits of that machine itself. We've removed that from the argument where we made them both identical. But if you're looking to do high-end graphic work with photographic reproduction from a color perspective, fine art, photography, the JV100 gives you that expanded color range because we got the orange, and it also gives you the additional light color of light black along with the light cyan, light magenta. So you have a complete 8-color setup there. But if you want to differentiate yourself and go into completely different markets, the UJV gives you the benefit, like you mentioned, of the clear ink specifically, and also the white. So you can create the layering technology up to 2 layers with this model. And you can also create textured and clear prints, which are high value. And you've had a lot of experience with the clear
and the variety of materials that you can work on with UV printing is, I would say, larger than the amount. There's a large gamut of materials that you can work on, a lot of substrates you can work on with UV as opposed to the solvent printer. So that's a factor as well. I have worked heavily with UV inks. I do like the different applications that I can do with that, but there are some situations where solvent is just more reliable. So it just depends on what business you have and what you're trying to get, as opposed to juxtaposed with time and the speed at which you're trying to put out jobs.
Yeah, and the last point I'll make on this be the interesting thing that we've done with this is we've brought more features, more technology. We've not removed anything, and we've actually brought the price of these products down compared to any other product. So if you are split between both of them, you can actually get into both products at the same time for less than you would pay for one of another product on the market. So you can actually choose both at the same time and still have a similar payment that you would have from one product from another manufacturer. So that's a great feature there if you're trying to get a new business up and running. You can do that 8-color setup with one, and you can do the white and clear with the other, and really set your shop up for success.
You guys are great. Quick shout out to Dennis LeBlanc. Hey, sorry, he called me out, so I had to say hey.
Hi, Dennis.
Next question is from Master Seymour. We're not allowed to rest on our laurels. He wants to know when we're going to make a hybrid, and specifically a hybrid cutter, printer, flatbed, or roll-to-roll.
Okay, so the question is about hybrid machines. So I'll start with this. We had a hybrid unit years ago, the UJV 160. That product did really well. The biggest challenge we find with the hybrid models is that the hybrid can't be the best at both pieces. So if you're doing flat goods, it's going to do really well, but it's not going to be as good as a true dedicated flatbed. And if you're doing roll-to-roll work, it's going to do that well, but it's not going to do it as well as a dedicated roll-to-roll machine. So Mimaki made a decision to separate those out. But for the price that you'll pay for a hybrid from any other brand out there, you can very easily get into a roll-to-roll machine and a flatbed, and you're not bogged down by having to switch the machine from one to another. Now, I know the other argument to that is sometimes that the product, specifically the flatbed, is a little difficult because of the size of your shop. But we've made it really easy with the JFX 200 and getting that into a shop. We've made that very, very small as we can for a flatbed, and you can still fit a roll-to-roll nearby. And you've worked with both the roll-to-roll and the flatbeds, and from someone that didn't have a lot of experience running this type of equipment, did you find that it was really easy to jump into both? Because from the hybrid standpoint, it was always a balancing act of calibrations and everything else.
Yeah, with my history, before working with Mimaki, I never worked with a flatbed machine. I was always roll-to-roll. Those were the only ones that were available to me in the different print shops that I worked in. I don't think I ever had a chance to work on a hybrid machine. I know that they existed. I know that I came in after that decision was made to stick to have our machines stick to the different the different pieces. But I feel like the ease of switching between these two machines, very simple, working on the JFX and printing something on the JFX and also printing something on CJV, something I can do myself, by myself at the same time, very easily in our print shop. And that was something that I was able to learn with very limited time on the machines at the very start of my career here. I think we all have like a running joke of when you join Mimaki being thrown in the deep end. Like there's always before COVID, there was always a trade show going on.
Right.
When anyone got hired, it was always the week of a trade show. I think my first week I had, I think SGIA was happening during my first week here. No one had time to train me. I did not have
trial by fire.
Oh yeah. And no one had sympathy because everyone said their experience was the exact same. No one had time to train me. They would just stand behind this person, watch what they're doing on the printers, and figure out what they're doing and recreate, just be able to recreate it later. I think that the first machine I just saw that with was the UCJV 300 series. And within that first week, I was able to talk about the machine, actually be able to print something. I wasn't able to do 5-layer printing until my next week, but that there was a very low learning curve for that. So switching between those, and then I was able to transfer that knowledge into working with the flatbeds very easily. That if you learn one machine, it's easy to translate that into the other machines very easily. Setting up the files, it's very simple in RationalLink. The process of starting something and design software, bringing it into RationalLink and printing it is the same. It just varies a tiny bit no matter what machine you're working on.
Yeah, and back to the hybrid specifically, I won't say that we'll never create another hybrid device, but I will preface it, you touched on something very specific there in your experience. The UCJV, the CJV are hybrid machines. They're hybrid print cut machines. They're just not hybrid flatbed, UV curable, flat stock and roll stock machines. As far as the other piece of that question, are we ever going to come out with a printer cutter? I'm assuming that the person writing the question in the chat window is probably referring to a flatbed. There's nothing that we currently have, but you never know what you're going to see from Mimaki because we're always trying to do something new and something different.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time. I have one last question. So if anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate to let us know right now. Before I ask the last question, I'm going to take a minute to real quickly do my job as PR and social media manager. Please be sure to subscribe, become a fan of all of our social media platforms. I think we're on all of them: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And resources are available on our website, www.mamakiusa.com/resources. There are a plethora of videos, how-to instructional guides, and if there's something you can't find, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll help you. So Mike, you ready for the last question?
I'm ready for the last question.
Last question. Do we offer any courses or webinars or any kind of instructional programs to help people learn more about what they can do with Mimaki products?
So the question is, and I'll let you field this first because you guys have spent so much time on this. The question is, do we have any webinars, instructionals, or any type of educational things that we offer to customers to understand how to better utilize the equipment and be successful?
Oh, absolutely. We have a wide variety of web materials for training, whether that be for printing or working on our software. We have instructional guides for individual application pieces. We have a running series, Tips and Tricks, which is from my applications team running through the different segments, creating different creating different finished products and with instructional guides of like step-by-step instructions on how we did that. There's of course more information on our website for all of those videos, our upcoming videos. We are constantly having webinars with different companies and with our audience to get that information out there. Please follow us online. All the information of future webinars are always posted on our websites on the events page. We are always posting that information on social media as well. And after all that information is done with, if you're not able to make our webinars, we do post some of those online, and all that information is posted on either our YouTube or our website afterwards. There's a great resource on our website where you can choose what application you are trying to create. It will fit that to the printer, the specific printer that you are working on, and that also has application information under it. So yeah, go to our website, mimakiusa.com. Please follow us, and we will try and work with any companies that will have us. I know that we are constantly bringing in people to test different materials with us, test workflows and different print solutions every day. We are willing to work with anyone in our industry. Just contact your local Mimaki shop. If you are comfortable, you can come in, socially distance, talk with us and talk over what your workflow is and what problems you're having with printing, and we will try and help solve those.
Yeah, and our to your point, each one of our local showrooms has a application specialist that is there to help guide you through that process and try and decide on which equipment is going to work the best, and also help you make decisions on how you're going to expand your business. And beyond all of the amazing work that the applications team is doing and all the videos and everything else they're doing, we're doing series like these. We're doing webinars and these business-focused webinars where we meet up with some of our industry peers, whether it's a material manufacturer or someone that's actually producing signage. And we do usually 30-minute or an hour-long segment where we offer the ability for you to interact not only with us, but also with that material manufacturer or that business owner and ask the questions and get better information. So there's a lot of information, a lot of education that we're offering. Check our website constantly. We're always updating it. There's always something going on here at Mimaki. And if you want to get into one of our showrooms, connect with our local sales teams there in the local offices. So we have an office here in Atlanta. We have an office up in the Rockaway, New Jersey area. We have an office in Dallas, Texas, one up in the Milwaukee area, Toronto, and Los Angeles. And all of our sales team and all of our applications teams there are always willing to work through things with you and try and figure it out so that you have the best possible chance for success, whether you're starting out from scratch or you're looking to expand into a new technology like a UV curable machine. Get with our teams. We're here to help you. Lisa, did we get any more questions? Nope, I think we might have lost Lisa here.
Okay, but
I'm here. I'm here.
There she is. There she is. This is live. You never know what's going to happen.
I do not see. Oh, wait. We might have one more question. Master,
we might have
say
one more question. All right.
Hold on.
Bring them in. We're here. We'll stick around as long as you're asking questions. We'll stick around for you.
Okay. Master Seymour wants to know, how much is the JFX 200?
The JFX 200, the list price on that is $77,995. We do run promotional offers through our dealerships from time to time. Check with our promotions page. Go to mimakiusa.com and check out the current promotions. Get with your local dealer. There are times when we run special programs with leasing companies. There's all kinds of different ways to get in that into that product, but it depends on which one you're looking at. But generally, it's going to be right around that price point. But we do offer some promotions from time to time. So check back with us. You might find that we do something pretty exciting, especially towards the end of the year.
All right. One final check. Oh, we do have a question about ink consumption.
Question. All right. Ink consumption.
Yes. How hold on. How accurate are Mimaki printers in calculating ink?
The accuracy of the ink consumption in Rasterlink is very high. We actually do it by channel. So you can do, when you're running a job, you don't actually even have to print the job, which is something.
As long as you, as long as the printer is connected to your computer or whatever computer you're using to print off of, and you press rip, as long as it is able to rip that information, you can get the ink consumption levels. Also, guesstimated time stamp of how long that will take. Yeah, I've used that feature before for testing with different companies many times.
Yep, and it's really accurate, so you should be able to get a good guide on what your cost will be there.
We have another question.
Okay.
Are there any plans for a Rasterlink event?
Are there any plans for a Rasterlink event? So we actually launched the 2 new products we talked about, and we announced Rasterlink 7. So we will most likely have a Rasterlink event in the upcoming months. We haven't planned it specifically or set a date, but there will be a Rasterlink event. We have had Rasterlink classes and how-to videos and tips and tricks that we've done. So again, if you want to see what the current version of Rasterlink does and you want to see some of the features, definitely check out the resources page on the website. There's a ton of stuff there that gives you some insight to Rasterlink.
Yeah.
We had a question on Facebook about whether we're going to join TikTok, and I think Christina answered the question very well on Facebook. So in case anybody didn't see it on Facebook, the answer is we haven't yet perfected our dance moves, so we haven't joined TikTok just yet.
We're being asked to join TikTok.
Oh, we have gotten that question before. No. Simple as that.
We haven't perfected our dance moves.
Absolutely not. You
we'll work on that.
Simply, you will never see that. I'm not allowed to dance in this state. Court order.
Excellent questions. Thank you.
All right, guys. I have no additional questions at this time. I've checked Facebook. I've checked YouTube. I think we're good.
Well, we are done with questions.
Right.
So
thank you so much, Lisa, for moderating those questions. Anyone with any more information that you'd like to get over to us, contact us via the website, follow us on social media. The live will be up and available on YouTube later on. Thank everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you. We appreciate this chance to talk to the audience, and we hope you have found this informative.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. I think we're really proud to be part of this industry. We're really happy to have you all be here with us. And for those of you that are watching this after the live is over, watching it over the weekends, just kind of catching up on what's going on, have a great time. And thanks for watching it, even if it's not live. So we'll catch you at the next Mimaki Live. See ya.
All right.